Well, hello, my little werewolf puppies. I am going on a walk. You want to come with? Oh, I live in the most beautiful place in the world. It's fucking windy! Look! Pickle grass. Mmm. Mmm. Salty like the ocean, fresh like a vegetable. My favorite thing about walking here is the treats. This pickle grass is old enough to be pink. Look, it's like candy, if candy was salty. Oh man, that's the best. Okay, I have a new allegiance. It's the pink pickle grass. All the way out to the ocean. Tide's a little high right now, I guess. Well, I mean, is it? No, I am wrong. Tide is not high. I thought that was the tide. That is not the tide. That's just tide pools, I guess. It is almost mermaid migration season. Best of luck to you, my honorary bitches. I've been volunteering with the Canadian Mermaid Migration Assistance since I was a kid. You know, I did it with my parents originally, and it's so much fun because A, you meet all kinds of really interesting people. B, it's fun to see which mermaids, you can tell which mermaids have immigrated up here because they are tiny. And I'm like, how do you have enough body fat to be in these cold waters? And they're like, well, you know, that's what scuba gear is for. Which, you know, I hadn't actually considered that mermaids might require scuba gear, but if you're supposed to be in like more tropical or Mediterranean waters, and you decide to immigrate up to the Great North, oh, let me get on some more solid ground, then yeah, you would in fact need something like scuba gear to handle the cold up here. Kind of like how some people need parkas. Anyway, it's fucking windy out here, so I'm gonna head back to the normal trail. But mermaid migration, right. You get to see some really beautiful parts of the province. We're in British Columbia, and here's some really interesting gossip about whales. Like, I've been on some whale watching tours, and you know, the people who run those, they are really good at what they do. I was going to say, you know, what their actual job is, but I forgot the word for it. My brain just goes, oceanographer. I'm like, that's not the word for it. But like, they don't speak whale. Okay, not every mermaid speaks whale, but the ones that do, they will regale us like it's a soap opera what's going on. And when there's it's always so exciting when there's like a new calf born. You know, the way land creatures get excited about like new tigers, baby tigers at the zoo, or there's a new hippo at a Thailand zoo named Mudang, and we're all excited about that. I have no reason to be excited about hippos, but have you seen a baby hippo? I am not a forager, and I don't generally know most of the plants around here. I should look into it, but I'm pretty sure this is yarrow. And I do happen to know quite a few witches that like to come out here around the full moon, which is why we never actually come out here on the full moon. Not only is there a distinct lack of trees for us to scratch up, like scratching posts, we're very cat-like that way, but also there's a distinct abundance of witches that we just generally don't want to mess with. Oh, and see this plant here? I'm pretty sure that's goldenrod, although if you can identify it otherwise, like if you're watching this and going, that's not goldenrod, don't be giving these people wrong information, please drop it in the comments and I will make sure it is pinned. But you see this growing a lot along roadways. I once read that it can be made into a lovely, very beneficial tea, but I've never tried it and I never will. Okay, you see this golf track, golf field? What do you call a place where golfers golf? I don't know. The point is, I know I hate them, and we have a joke in the local werewolf community that some full moon we're going to all gather and just absolutely fuck up the golfer's paradise. And then we'll just claim it was like wild boars or something. And oh no, well that sucks to suck, but and then while they're all in turmoil going, what are we gonna do? We're gonna lose money, well we have to fix this. We'll throw a bunch of like really fast growing seeds. Basically, screw golf. Although, that would put us really close to the local witches who are here gathering yarrow and other shit during the full moon. So maybe it's not a good idea. However, I was talking to some of the local witches and we were thinking about, okay, what if we got like moles or wild pigs or like, I don't know, maybe some like protected species and then introduce them there and said, be free, my brethren, dig holes. And then they wouldn't be able to do anything about it because, well, you can't mess with a protected species. Of course, that would mean we had messed with the protected species first, but no evidence trail, right? I should maybe have not said that on camera. Puppies, do mine eyes deceive me? Nay, 'tis a wild apple tree. And a very, very steep hill to get down to them. Is it worth it, little werewolf puppies? Do you think, is it worth it? Fuck it, we ball! Like any good canine. Oh, puppies, it is a lot steeper than I thought, and there's a creek at the bottom. The fruit. It is forbidden. He's a little friend. He's so little. What are you going to be? What are you going to be? Get out of here if you don't think this is absolutely gorgeous. I do not know what the purple flowers are, but I approve. I love my home. We don't actually have a huge werewolf population up here. It's why we can all spread out as much as we do during the full moon. And I don't know, maybe there's more of a werewolf population in the interior. Actually, that makes sense. Hey, interior werewolves. But we have a huge mermaid population here. I don't know what it is about the city, or maybe it's the rivers, or what, but they just... That was a really weird sound to describe mermaid migration, but it's also not inaccurate. I know I've talked a little bit about mermaid migration earlier, but it's very wet. But for the mermaids that utilize the Canadian Mermaid Migration Authority, volunteer here, hello. They don't actually live in the city the way the more sedentary mermaids do. We help them get from the ocean to the river to like breeding grounds. It's very salmon-like. Actually, one year there was this one mermaid that was very small back then. He's bigger now, but he was very small back then. And on his way up the river, he did get mistaken for a giant salmon by a bear. So he punched the bear in the face. It ended okay, you know, nobody was truly hurt and everything, but it got caught on camera by some, trail cam thing, and it was a whole big drama because you can't punch a bear! But also, what was he gonna do? Just let the bear eat him? There's been like a million of these little planes today. Is something going on? Am I missing something? Y'all are messing with the tranquility of my walk. Ooh, okay, this is usually the best part of the walk, although it might be a little too late in the season, but this is a wild plum orchard. And unlike those traitorous apples, this one is on this side of the bank. Are there any left? Probably not in grabbing range, though it is kind of nice to take a break from the sun and just kind of wander through the shade of the plum orchard. Like, I could see myself stringing up a hammock in here and just camping out for a few days. I'm not going to, because I don't have a hammock with me, and that's generally actually the only reason that I'm not doing that now. But it feels like I'm walking through some kind of fairy tale. Like, look at this path. Actually, now that I'm really looking at it, that is probably actually a fairy path, and I need to get out of here immediately. They got my first name, they don't need to get my last name. Okay. Safe on the man-made path. Human-made path. This path was definitely made by humans, and you can tell because this is not how a werewolf would have designed this path. But anyway, say it with me now, puppies. We do not take fruit from the fairy forests. We do not take fruit from the fairy forests. We are not roommate. How does that poem go? We must not look at goblin men, we must not eat their fruits. Who knows upon what soil they've fed their hungry, thirsty roots? I personally don't know any goblins, but I have been down to the goblin market. I mean, if I'm paying for the fruit, it's a transaction, right? So there's no reason for me not to eat the fruit. I'm not owing anybody anything, right? Although, man, they try to get you with those free samples. I had to ban roommate from the goblin market, and I feel a little bit bad about that because they have the cutest petting zoo, but he cannot be trusted. This is not to say that I don't trust my roommate. I do, obviously. I wouldn't live with him if I didn't trust him, but he has got to stop falling into very obvious fairy traps. Is it pilot test day? Look at the creature. Look at the creature. Hello. Hello. It's so pretty. He flew away. There are a lot of horses that come along this trail, puppies. You see a little bit of horse dung left there. And all the dung gets rained out the sides. And there must have been some squash seeds in some of it because this is some wild squash we got growing. Look at that. Oh, I will be coming back for you. Hey, more horse poop squash. I wonder if it's the same kind. Hey, more horse poop squash. Ooh, I think that's acorn squash. Looks like something might have already started chewing on it. Yeah, something's already started chewing on it. Even though it's not... Wait, is that ripe? Oh my god, my nail's going into it so easily. I think it's ripe. Hell yes, guess who's picking horse poop squash? I mean, I'll get it on the way back. I really don't feel like carrying horse poop squash with me. Because, like, it was the texture of a zucchini and the color of a zucchini, but the shape of an acorn. If it ends up being tasty, I'm gonna be so happy, because there seems to be a lot of horse poop squash around here. See here, we have some evidence of fairy activity. So we're not even going to go close to this bush. We're not even gonna touch this bush. Very obvious. But knowing roommate, he would have gone like right up and touched that bush and gone, I wonder if this is edible. That boy does not have the common sense the gods gave a snail. I mean, he's a very intelligent man. He's very well read. That is not the same. Okay, so this... Okay, so this is a wild pear tree. It's flippin' enormous. And up until recently, it was entirely covered in pears. And so I came over here going, finally, it should be pear season. They should all be ripe. And I get here and I don't see any. And I was mad for a moment, but I looked and looked and looked and looked and look! There's still some pears. And it looks like there's even one that might potentially be within reach. Let's pick it. Oh wow, that is a row of thistles. Do I want this that badly? Yes. Oh, there's gnats everywhere. Oh, I'm not wearing the proper shoes for this. No, you're just out of reach. Okay, puppies, you're helping me with this. You gotta help me with this. This is what I mean with all those thistles. Absolutely unacceptable. I could, I suppose, pick a pair off the ground, but I'm not that desperate. There it is. Now, you're gonna knock it into my grasp. And, okay. Ah! Puppies, I'm a blind fool. There's one right here. Victory! This is the perfect pair for someone with ADHD. As soon as I'm bored of eating it, I'm done. Yes, my little werewolf puppies, we are mighty hunters. We hunted a pair. Well, now it's time to start making the trek home, little werewolf puppies. Goodbye, pear tree. I'll catch you next time. Ooh, let's not forget to get our horse poo squash. Why does everything I want have thorns? Ow! And don't worry, there are plenty more squash on the vine where this one came from, because what is the first rule of foraging? No, it's not make sure the thing that you're about to forage is in fact edible, because witches don't always forage edible things. No, the first rule of foraging is make sure you leave enough for others. And for the future, you know, we also need to make sure, well, I suppose technically the squash is not supposed to be here, because this is not squash country, is it? Is the squash is it native to the area? Is it supposed to be here? Do you think it was part of a horse feed that got fed through the horse intestine and got pooped out on the trail, and now there's free squash for everybody? Look, dunks! Look at all the quackers. It is actually a very strong act of self-control that I don't start screaming at them and running down there, jumping in the water and following after them. Well, I had a good time with you today, puppies. We hunted a squash, we defeated a tree, we saw creatures. I am going to sign off here. Goodbye, my little werewolf puppies. Oh, we also screamed at a plane together. True pack bonding at its peak. Bye. Puppies, I nearly just stepped on a snake.